So last week we started a series about just putting on the spiritual armor of God and how it helps us to do battle. Today I want to look at a topic that I think probably a lot of us just like, it just doesn't really connect with us much unless I ask you a question like, when was the last time somebody lied to you? How did it make you feel? You remember? When you know that they blatantly didn't tell you the truth, how'd you respond to it? Do you like being lied to? Just a genuine question. Do you care? Maybe some people don't care. I don't care if people tell me the truth or not. Parents, grandparents, you got kids. Do you care if they tell you the truth? I'm just straight up. Can they do a white lie? Is that okay? Do you insist on truth? Is truth like, it kind of depends? Because again, I don't want to beg that I think one way. You might just think, truth, what is truth, right? Pilate, long time ago with the presence of Jesus, what is truth? Philosophers through the years, what is truth? Who can know it? Well, if you can't know truth, and truth doesn't matter, well then what does it matter if you're lied to? It's all relative, right? What if somebody's really trying to protect themselves? Wouldn't that be an acceptable grounds for not telling the truth? If you were trying to protect yourself, your reputation, your image, wouldn't it be acceptable for you to just fudge a little bit? Because after all, it's for a good end, right? It's so that you look good. So lying would be okay, right? Except there's something that I think in most people that goes, oh man, I'm just not sure. Heard the story of a guy, he's on a date with his lady friend, and they pick up some chicken. They go to a romantic spot overlooking the lake. It's picturesque, just a beautiful day, and they get the bucket of chicken, and then they go to get the bag of the other things, the rolls and things that they expect to be in a bag, going to find out there's $1,000 cash in the bag. They're like, whoa. We didn't order $1,000 cash. So he's troubled. He's got conviction. He's like, it's not my money, we got to take it back. So they finish the chicken, they hurry back to the chicken restaurant. He goes in with the cash. Turns out it was yesterday's deposit that somebody in the back mistakenly put with his order. The manager is profusely thankful because they've been looking for a little panic, wasn't sure where it went or what they should do. They got their $1,000 back. Manager can't believe the guy was that honest to bring the cash back. He's like just falling all over himself. Man, oh man, I want to call the press. So I need, we got to get the story out. We need more people in the world like you. At which point the guy leans in and whispers. He said, hey, I'd really prefer you not do that. The woman I'm with, she's somebody else's wife. Honesty, truthfulness. When it suits us. What about when it doesn't suit us? What do we do? Today I want to talk to you about the belt of truth. Now, this, the Roman soldier would have had an outfit that is much heavier than this. This is a fake one, obviously. And he would have had this breastplate on him, but the thing is he's putting the breastplate on would have been, this is my work belt, because I didn't have a really good Roman belt. But there's some similarities. The Roman belt would have been 4 to 5 inches thick, would have been all leather, it would have gone around his waist. The whole purpose of the Roman belt was twofold. One was to tie in the breastplate, to tie it all together, to kind of firm it up. If he had anything like down here that he needed to roll up, he'd roll it up into his belt so he could run. It was also wide and thick so that it would support the back. I know a body lifter. You guys have seen bodybuilding, bodylifting belts. What do? One of the purposes is to support the back. So you're in battle, you've got a sword, you're trying to, this is all metal now, you're trying to help keep this up and support this. You've got this wide belt on, leather belt to help you help you stand, help you keep everything together, help you keep your sword at the ready, because you've got a shield on the other hand. And that's sort of how you went into battle. Ephesians chapter 6, if you have a Bible and you want to open it there, let me read the passage. Paul is at the end of summing up a letter that he wrote to a church that's not all that different from us. We said that these people were, they were like in a San Diego. They were like in a Chicago. In some respects, they were like St. Louis. They were on an inlet of water. Trade flowed through their city. Major roads went out of Ephesus. It was a very religious community. They worshipped a bunch of different gods, but primarily they worshipped the god of fertility and the god of agriculture. And so as this church is being formed, that some think by the time that Paul writes this letter in about 60 to 62 AD, he's under arrest. He's either in jail or he's got like a house arrest, like a Roman centurion, always like near him, and simply for being a Christian. That's the only reason. That's why he's in jail, right? And so he writes this letter to some people that he had spent some time with, but just now to help them navigate what it's like to be a Christian. And the first 3 chapters of Ephesians are all about our faith, about who Jesus is, about what Jesus wants to do in our life, about what it's like to know him. And then chapters 4, 5, and 6 are like, well, how do I live out my faith? And we get to the end of chapter 6, and so when you see, he says in verse 10, finally, he's sort of summing this whole thing up. I'm bringing this all together for you. Here's what it's like to be a Christian. Here's what it's like for God to be alive in your marriage. Here's how you're to treat one another. Here's what it's supposed to be like in your families. Here's what it's supposed to be like at work. Bosses, what kind of boss are you supposed to be? What kind of employee are you supposed to be? And now let's kind of like bring it all together. And he just says, finally be strong in the Lord, in his mighty power, and put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. Our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but it's against the rulers and powers and authorities of the dark world. It's against spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. So because of this, therefore, put on the full armor of God so that when the day of evil comes, you would be able to stand your ground, and after you've done everything to stand firm with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place. Let me just stop right there. First thing I just want to remind us of is that evil's real. We're coming into Halloween. I get it. It's a fun day, but there's evil in the world. I think I've talked to a few of you who would acknowledge that evil is in the world. We see stuff, we see headlines, and we go, man, how is that happening? Well, one of the things I'd like you to think about, if I could, beyond... How many of you think you know evil if you saw it? I bet you most of you would put your hand up. I could, boom, boom. Yeah, that's wrong. That's bad. That's evil, right? Get it. I could call it, right? It's like some of you are like great umpires from 200 feet away. You know what I'm saying? Some of the best college football officials sit in a chair on Saturday in their living room. You absolutely do. I understand, all right? There's some aspects of evil that I don't know that we grasp fully. And the thing that struck me was what Paul said to Timothy. He went over in 2 Timothy chapter 3. If I can, let me just read it, because it fits this. He told Timothy, he said, understand this, there's going to be terrible times in the last days. Okay, yeah, there's a news flash, right? It's going to be bad. Well, what's the bad going to look like? This is the thing I've just sort of been like, all right, how do I fit this into my worldview? He says people will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money. They're going to be braggadocious. They're going to be proud. They're going to be abusive. They're going to be disobedient to their parents. They're going to be ungrateful. They're going to be unholy. They're going to be no love. They're going to be without love. They're going to be unforgiving. They're going to be slanderous. That is, out of their mouth is just going to come garbage. No self-control. They're going to be brutal. They're not going to love what's good. They're going to be treacherous or treasonous. They're going to be rash. They're going to be conceited. They're going to be lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. And we would all go, yeah, I see that every day. You know the thing that's really sticking with me that I don't have a handle for yet? Verse 5 says, they have a form of godliness, but they deny its power. Have nothing to do with those people. What am I trying to say? These characteristics that we would all go, those are bad, are by people claiming to be good. This is not bad people being bad. This is good people having a form, a likeness, an appearance of being good and godly, but there's no power behind it. They say the right things, but you look at their actions and you go, whoa. And I think one of the things that's going to come in the last days with evil rising, Satan, where am I? I'm just like, to me this is, forgive me. All right, let me just try and say what let me just get it out. If I had a nice pie of the dung that my wife collects from our backyard 3 dogs, and it's right here, it's in a pie tin, and it's got a crust, but it's dung, and we put some whipped cream on it, and it looks like a chocolate pie, but it's dung, and you can smell it when you walk in the room. Are you inclined to eat from it? No, you're not. But what if I had a chocolate pie with just a little bit of dung? Not a lot that you can smell it, but I just mix it in. I know, I get it's crass, but you would be like, that looks good. And you taste it and you go, something's a little bit off. The chocolate chips are spoiled. I mean, right? I think most people know evil when they see it. What I think the struggle is when we're confronted with evil and it looks good. It says the right things, but you look at the actions and you get a little closer and you smell it and you go, oh, man, that doesn't strike me just right. Paul told Timothy, all these things are done by people who have a form of godliness. That's the phrase I wasn't expecting. I was expecting all these things are done by people who are just rotten, no good, scandalous, like you can spot them a mile away, like, man, they are just really bad people doing really bad things. No, they're people who look good. They've got a form, an appearance, a likeness of godliness, but there's no godly power behind what you see. Do you not think that you and I then would need to know, how do I combat that? How do I spot that? How do I teach my kids about that? Because it's out there. What am I going to do to be different to protect myself? And so to those people, Paul says the very first thing, looking at a Roman guard around him, is in these days of evil. Now here's one of the things I want you to understand, is as we follow Jesus, John tells us, greater is the one in you than the one in the world. The adversary can't touch your soul. By that I mean he's not going to mess you up, and a person who's a follower of Jesus isn't going to hell. But he can make your life a living hell if you dabble in it. You don't think so? How many Christians have you seen get messed up with the wrong thing? And they pay a price. Your eternity is secure. Jesus, it's by grace you're saved through faith. It's not of your works, so no one can brag. God's at work in you. He's rescued you. You're going to heaven. But man, your life here on earth, depending on if you want to walk closely with Jesus or if you want to drift, that's your call. And people who drift find themselves with all sorts of pains. 1 Peter 5:8, know this, that your adversary just goes about like a lion and he's looking for someone to destroy. What's destruction look like? You think it's hard to figure out? Have you ever seen people whose lives are messed up? And then you peel back and you say, how'd they get there? Seriously, I'm not trying to cast stones. How'd they get there? It was this decision, that choice. They went that path. And before you know it, they found themselves, they couldn't get out, they couldn't escape. Your adversary is real. He wants to destroy your life. He doesn't want your life to go well. If you're lukewarm in your faith, he'll leave you alone. If you want to walk with God, trust me, you will face temptations and tests, and like he's going to come after you. He's going to come get you because you are like in his face. And he just soon you like, be cool. Just chill. Don't take your faith seriously. Really. I mean, be a good Christian. Put a little money in the plate. Show up once in a while on Sunday. But don't get serious about your faith by all means, because that would make you like a lunatic, like a far right person, like those people we like. Oh, I'm not one of them. And he'll leave you alone. But you get serious about walking with God. You get serious about following Jesus. You can expect there's going to be some attacks. It's going to try and knock you back a little bit. Say, hey, calm down. And when we compromise, we even go the other way. It's like, oh, you know what? It is kind of hard to be a Christian. And you take shortcuts, and you end up jammed up. God's still got your back. And he's still there. He's not like, oh, he's going to turn his back on you. But man, there's going to be some hard things you got to work through. So that's what I want to remind us. The enemy's real. He's out there. He's looking to take you down. Christ in you, the Spirit of God in you, is greater than the one in the world. If we would stay close to God, we have his protection. But now here in Ephesians, he's like, all right, well, what's it going to be like then to stand against this evil? And he says the first thing is put on the belt of truth. All right, so truth. What is truth? Stand firm means just what it says, like you're just digging in. It's able, if I extrapolate out, it means to resist temptation. It means to, like, when hard times come, you don't quit. You just dig down in, and I said last week, it's like as I watched the football games yesterday, and I watched the battle in the trenches between the offensive line and the defensive line, both sides trying to move and push the other side, and it's technique, and it's brute strength, and sometimes it's just like getting in there and just pushing together. That's what it means to stand firm. You're not going to bail. Hard times and hard people are going to come. You're not going to quit. All right? Now, and this is the first thing he mentions is truth. Of all the things you could think of, put on the belt of truth. And I said to myself, well, why truth? I thought it was interesting. Went back to the 9th commandment. It's in the 10 commandments, right? 9th commandment says that, I learned it in the King James, but if I just use my verbiage, just like speak truthfully about your neighbor. Don't lie about your neighbor. Why is it one of the 10? Why does honesty matter? Seriously, are there a lot of big things other than being truthful? I mean, if you had to make a top 10, would being honest would have made your top 10? So in God's world, being a truthful, honest person makes the 10 commandments, and Jesus then in Matthew even reiterates it. He said, hey, you know what? When you're in front of people, you're trying to make like pinky swear, and all those things. Like, just let your yes be yes and your no be no. Can I just trust you to it's funny today, like, can you make a major purchase without 6-page contract? At the end of it, I got to sign my name to 6 pages. We bought a car in the last year, and I'm like, now they're like, I'm so glad they're at least electronic, but now he's just, all right, initial here. And it's like 5 minutes of pages. I want to buy a car. Is my money good? Is the car good? It should be that simple. But it's not anymore, is it? Right? Go to buy an appliance. Just let your yes be yes and your no, no. Why have we drifted? Why is it so complicated today? Because people are dishonest. I'm not slamming. That's not a judgment. It's people can't be trusted to keep their word. People say one thing and they do another. So my question to you is, the last time somebody said something to you but did something else, how did it make you feel? And if you felt out of sorts or mad or angry, why? Why? Can I offer a reason why? Not rocket science. Didn't you expect different? And so my question to you would be, why did you expect different? Why did you expect them to be truthful? Why did you expect them to tell you the truth? Because you thought they cared about you? Because you thought maybe depending on the relationship, they loved you? Thought that's not what our relationship's like? Anybody ever go to buy something and there was a bait and switch thing at the store? Did it upset you? Why did it upset you? Because you were expecting something, honesty, and you weren't getting it? Why is it important for you and I to be people that our yes is yes and our no is no? Because I think one of the things is it speaks to your character. I just want to be a person that you may not like everything I do, but you know what? If Mike said it, it was true. That's all I want. What do you want for you? What do you want for your family? Parents, do you want to teach your kids to tell the truth, and if so, why? Because you know, don't you, that in culture, the only way relationships work is with trust. And if I can't trust what you're telling me is true, how far is that going to go? I've said this many times. I'll say it again. Those of you that are in leadership, you have people under you at work. Do you care if they fudge reports? Do you care if they tell you the truth? Do you care if they slight things a little bit? Is that okay? And if it's not okay, why? I mean, what if the department's getting ahead? Isn't that a good thing? Businesses, is it okay if we just fudge numbers? Why does it matter? Because truth matters. Because without what is true and factual and real, how do we gauge anything? How do you know what can be trusted? How can I know that I can trust your word if you tell me you're going to do something if the last time? Here's one to think about that I hadn't really processed. Sometimes we look at truth and we say, well, Mike, is it really helpful if grandma's dying and we don't really tell her because we don't want to upset her? Bad news. Maybe you haven't run into that. I've only a couple times, but it made me think about. Can you process that? Someone's ill, they're not doing really well. If we told them the truth, it wouldn't really help. And I was reading somebody this week who said, even in those situations, here's something to think about. If you dodge the truth here in this box, and I watch you, how do I know next time maybe I'm in a bad way? And you're going to dodge the truth to protect me. And I'm totally dependent on you looking out for my best interests. Why not just tell the truth? Why not be people of truth? Jesus says, Paul says, look, tell the truth, let your yes be yes. So put on this belt of truth, all right? So I asked myself then, I just started going and went down and said, why is lying, I've touched on a little bit there, why lying is bad? Any of you lied to your kids? Be careful how you answer that. Any of you lied to your kids? We did. We lied to our kids. Hey kids, I got kids in here. Let's have some fun with this. How have parents lied to you? And what lies have parents told you? Santa! Whoa, right out of the box. What are the lies? That whole thing. Tooth Fairy, Easter Bunny, elf on a shelf. Okay, he's watching you, he's going to report back. Why do we do that? Because it's fun. It's make-believe. We're trying to, the whole spirit of things. Thought this was interesting. They've done studies on why people lie. Women, you tend to lie to protect others. If you're going to tell a lie, if you're going to skirt the truth, you do it so that someone doesn't get hurt. Men, if you lie, if you don't do the truth, you're doing it to protect yourself. You're doing it so you look better. You're doing it so that you might look stronger in the eyes of those that you perceive are following this. So our motivations are different depending on our gender. They found that, I thought this was interesting, maybe 75% of people lie on their dating app. And I thought, I'm not on a dating app, but why would someone lie on their dating app? What do they lie about? How much money you make, your looks, what your interests are. They've discovered that generally 60% of those who turn in a resume have got some sort of falsehood on their resume. That's what job hunters have found. That's over half of us lie on our resume. I always find it interesting when someone big in the news gets caught. They said they did X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, did they not know the internet exists? You can just fact check just about anything these days, right? But people still do it to the tune of over half of people lie on their resumes. Kids, when they surveyed, I think 1,100 school-age kids, 37%, the largest percentage of them, said that they lie to avoid punishment. They know they're going to get in trouble, and they're not trying to get in as bad a trouble. The thing that it told me was, from our earliest days, we've learned to lie to avoid consequences. And into the faith, Jesus says, put on the belt of truth. Be truthful people. And so, okay, we've got this tension, this friction going on, and all right, how does it work? How do I become then this truthful person? What are the lies that I think the adversary tells? Because I think that's one of the things that we have to come to grips with. Satan lies to us, and we've got to fight off his lies with truth. What are lies that people believe? Man, when I asked myself that question, my brain just started spinning. I just started writing stuff down. Here's what I wrote. Any of you ever said, I'm fine when you're not? You know you're not. Anybody say you don't have enough time when that's not really what's going on? Anybody ever just say, hey, or heard somebody say, you just follow your heart. You just follow your heart, you'll be okay. If it feels good, it must be okay. I grew up with my mom telling me that God helps those who help themselves. That was ingrained in me. God comes alongside, so I got to do my part, and if I do my part, God will do his part. That's what I grew up with. Only hypocrites go to church. That's partly true. There's a lie out there that says I don't need other people. You're self-sufficient. You don't need it. You don't need other people to come alongside you. You don't need other people's help. There's a lie out there that says I can never change. There's a lie that says only good people go to heaven. Anybody following the headlines? Our president has said that he doesn't think he's good enough to go to heaven, and so he's trying to stop wars. All I want you to understand is, where's he coming from in his thinking? I haven't done enough good things to get to heaven. I need to do some more good things. The most powerful person in our country is saying, I haven't done enough good. That doesn't square with Scripture, right? So I'm saying we live in a world of lies, and Jesus says, put on the truth. So here's what I want you to understand. Truth is found in a person. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth. I thought that was interesting. Jesus said, the way to knowing what truthfulness, the way to knowing what God is through me. You can trust me. What are we back to? It's not abstract. Truth is, do you find a truthful person? Can you trust them? Here's one of the things I honestly live by. If I'm looking for a recommendation, how many of you, when you want to find out what's good about something, you go on the internet and you search 5 ways to Sunday, right? Yeah. I don't do that. I seriously don't. If I know that, Travis, I can pick on Travis. If I know and I'm looking for a plumber and Travis says, call Bill, I'm done. I don't go looking for 5 bills. I got a guy I trust, and based on what he tells me, I'm going to make a phone call. I do that constantly in my world. If I trust you, I trust your word, and you give me something, I'm going to run with it. Why? And I've told people this. I'll encounter Bill. Hey, how'd you find me? I said, this dude Travis I'm friends with, he recommends you. Oh, really? That's it. That's all I need. Because I trust the person. I trust the relationship I have with you. Now, conversely, I can't I'm not trying to be mean about anybody. I'm just saying if I can't pick you up and throw you, I can't trust you, I don't care what you tell me. And they may be the best person in the world, but I don't trust you. I can't trust your word. So I'm not going to trust your recommendation. Jesus said, trust me. I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through me. So here I want to boil it down for you. Can you trust what Jesus says? Can you trust what Jesus says about who you are, about who God is? Can you trust what the Bible says? God's word is truth. Can we trust what the scriptures say about, well, okay, Warman, that's so abstract. Like, give me a for instance. Okay, I'm going to give you one that I think a lot of people deal with. Ready? Jesus said we need to forgive. That is so stupid. It is. Come on. Forgiveness is stupid. Revenge is cool. Getting even is cool. Having some hate towards somebody, that's cool. Forgiveness? That's like for weak people and chumps. Do you see where you got a crossroads? What did the word say? What did God say? What did Jesus say? What's culture say? You should be gracious and give. Proverbs says that Solomon said a long time ago that a generous man will himself be refreshed, will be encouraged in his spirit. But if I give to you, who's going to make up the difference? If I give money, I'm going to be out some, right? And if I'm out some money, who's going to make that up? There's less in my pocket, right? So I've now got a quandary. Do I live generously, or do I hang on to it because I'm just not sure? It doesn't always happen this way, but I'm aware of a person. No, that's just not Mike. So we withheld $2,000 for salary in September. We just said, hey, this is a way to make where the church is whole. And in the 1st of October, we got a check for 5 times that amount. Now, we were expecting some, but we weren't expecting 5 times. Oh, Warman, it's always the good stories. It's always the good stories. Yeah. I'm going to say to you, sometimes it's always the good stories because you don't trust it. You don't really trust it. It wasn't a big deal for me to let some of our salary go because I really trust that God will make it up. And if he doesn't, then I'll be all right. But see, at some point, my faith has to be like the things I say, what do I do? And truth is one of those tests for you and I. When you get put in a prickly situation, do you tell the truth or you try and skirt it? If you're trying to teach your kids the truth and one of them were old enough to ask you why, how would you answer them? Why? Why, Daddy? Why, Mom? If I tell the truth, I'm going to get in trouble, right? Honesty is the best policy, right? Why? Why is honesty the best policy? If I'm out there and I'm living life and saying, hey, what is true or not? One of the things you might do is at the end of the night, look back and say, were there any areas today I skirted the truth? Where did I fudge the truth? And then ask yourself why. Was it to make yourself look good? Was it to protect someone else? Why weren't you honest in that situation? Were you afraid? Were you fearful that if you told your boss the truth, there might be repercussions? And what would those repercussions be? Would he take your life? Warman, you're being dramatic. No. Would he fire you? Maybe. Maybe. And so now you're asking yourself, at what point, see, that's what I'm like, I just want me and you to understand this. You all have a price. You have a price. The question is, where is your price line? Is it your job? You'll lie to keep your job. You just know where your line is. You just said it. Is it your security? Will you lie to keep yourself safe? Keep people you love safe? You just have established your line. If they give you 25 cents back at McDonald's that you know you didn't deserve while you're counting the change, and you don't say anything, I just concluded you were bought for a quarter. You were willing to sacrifice your integrity for 25 cents? Really? That's all you're worth? Truthfulness matters. And so at the end of the day, can you look back and just say, hey, what did I do today? Was there a situation? Oh, yeah, I said this. Yeah. Work hard at being clear. Let your yes be yes and your no, no. Your word be good. You should be able to do that. You're an adult. If you don't want to do something, please don't tell me like you got 35 things that you got to do. I'm so slammed, I can't do it. Just say you don't want to do it. You're going to think this is fine. See, what are you worried about? Your image. You're going to think, and now you're worried about your image. Just say I don't want to do it. That's fine. You can respect that, can't you? But dig deeper and say, man, why can't I just say, yeah, I'll be there. I'll do this. No, this isn't a good time for me. And I don't even need to quantify it. I wrote down here, what are the things that I can do to practice the truth look like? Don't tolerate small or white lies. What are those? I'll give you one from yesteryear. Here at the church, I'm listening to the admin answer the phone, and the admin says, oh, he's not here right now. And what did I just tell you? I heard the admin say, he's not here right now. I'm here right now. All right? I was in my office, but she was trying to protect my time. So I come out and I said, hey, what was that? She says, I said, I heard you say that I wasn't here right now. I said, yeah, I know you didn't want to be bothered. I said, but I'm here right now. You lied. Well, yeah, I'm trying to, no, I get it. I'm not trying to beat anybody up. I'm not. I'm just saying, couldn't you just say he doesn't want to take your call right now? That'd be truthful. Don't tolerate little white lies. Hey, nobody does this anymore because you have a cell phone. When I grew up and I answered the phone, it's always cracked me up. I sometimes could hear my mom in the background say, tell them, don't have your kids lie for you. Just kill the small stuff. And I think the bigger stuff will still be a challenge, but man, let's just start with the small stuff and nipping that in the bud. So review your day, commit to being an honest person. Don't compromise with this weak, piddly stuff, all because you want to be a person of integrity. You want your character to stand out. The team's coming up. I read about a story of a guy. Next week, in 2 weeks, we'll deal with the breastplate of righteousness. Next week, in honor of Halloween, I want to really dig a little bit deeper dive into Satan and what his attacks are and how he goes after us, all right? All right, so this guy by the name of Lew Wallace is his name. It's not Lee, it's Lew, I'm pretty sure. Yep, Lew Wallace was early 1900s. He's the governor of New Mexico. He's gone through politics. He's won some battles. He's a pretty famous dude. And by his own admission, Lew wasn't sure there was a God or not. Okay? And he wasn't like beating drums against it, but he wasn't a Christian by any means. He's on a train ride, cross-country train ride with a dear friend who's an atheist. Just there is no God, Jesus is a joke kind of thing. And so his friend looks at Lew and says, man, I know you want to write a book. He said, why don't you write a book about why Jesus is fake? It'll sell, you'll be famous, and it'd be good for humanity. Lou's ponders it. You know what he does? He's going to do it. So he starts researching. I mean, again, it's not internet. He's having to get books from all over, and he starts looking at the life of Christ. Every biblical source and non-biblical source he can find. And he spends a little bit of time, a chunk of time actually, researching Jesus, and he comes to a point where he says to his wife, he says, Christ was real. I can no longer deny him. And he becomes a follower of Jesus, Lou Wallace. Any of you know that name? No, I doubt anybody would. Anybody know the movie Ben-Hur? Ben-Hur, what was Ben-Hur? Ben-Hur, the tagline was something like Ben-Hur the Christ. Lou Wallace wrote the book that became the movie Ben-Hur. And Ben-Hur is about a Jewish guy who encounters the Christ and has his life changed by it. Because Lou looked into the truth. Be a truthful person. Tell the truth. Be someone whose character is built on being a trustworthy individual, whether you're a believer or not. I would encourage you, because as a believer, but even if you don't want to follow Jesus, because the truth will not disappoint you. Won't always be easy, but you won't be disappointed in the character of the person, the man or woman you're becoming, because you're someone that can be counted on, because your word means something. Let's stand and sing with these guys. Thank you for that promise, Father, that you'll never leave us nor forsake us, that you will walk with us to the ends of the ages. That, God, that greater is the one that is in us than the one that's out here in culture that we do battle with. That, Father, you've not left us to our own strength, but you have said that we can fight with the Spirit of God within us. Lord, I pray for those that maybe are caught in lies and they're trying to figure their way out, whether they're here or whether they're watching online. Father, I pray that you would help them to commit to being people of truth, a man or woman of truth. That, God, you would show them a way through the mess that they're in. Lord, for those that maybe are not in a bad way, maybe we've flirted with just deception, dishonesty, we might recommit to just letting our yes be yes and our no, no, and being men and women of integrity. It's not easy, because we know the world in which we live. We know our own hearts. So we ask for your strength and your grace. In the name of our Savior we pray. Amen. God bless you as you go. Have a good week. We'll see you soon.